Ah, sweet. Love it. So it looks like we are live and we finally got Mr. Ken Russell in the house. So I do apologize for that. But yeah, no, I'm glad to actually have, how do I call it? Miami City Commissioner Ken Russell, who has served Miami City Commission for the
Jen
last six
here.
years. And he's the current U.S. Congress FL27 candidate. As a commissioner, Ken's priorities has been addressing the affordable housing crisis, climate change, sea level rise, and water quality issues, which is one of the reasons why I love this man because he has the same train of thought as me, especially when it comes to the water and making sure that we take care of the planet. So, Ken represents Miami City Commission District 2, which covers part of downtown Miami, Edgewater, Brickell, Coconut Grove. And prior to serving in the Miami City Council, Ken was a water sports salesman and professional yo-yo player, where he did business in over 40 different countries. Ken and his wife Juliana reside in Coconut Grove and have three lovely children. I love it. So I know what it's like to be a dad here in Florida. It is a scary time, so I'm not gonna lie. I do look forward to putting somebody like you who actually cares about our planet, who thinks about the future, and is really worried about your children's future, like I am too. So I'm glad to have you here, Ken. It's really
Thank you so much, and thanks for what you're doing. I know you're stepping up too, and it's a beast running statewide. I'm glad to only be running in a single district right now. I get to sleep in my own bed every night, and it's a luxury. So
it is, and it's crazy.
keep chugging.
No, it is. It's crazy. My car hates me. I know that. My wife hates me for that too, because half the time I'm gone, and especially lately with the one sick puppy, it's been a little hard on her. So, trying to make sure that we hold it all together, especially these last few weeks. We got to make sure we get past this primary, which is a big deal for me because right now everything is on the line, and we know that Big Sugar is on the attack, and that's basically what's coming after me right now with a lot of these things. So we know it sucks, and I know that's been one of the serious issues in this state with just dealing with people like Big Sugar, Big Ag, big corporations in general. And I took the pledge to not take any money from big corporations and people like that. I don't know if you have, but that's one of those things that's really super important to me, and in the sense that we need to be as transparent as possible too with a lot of this money, because it's just crazy. These people pour millions of dollars into these campaigns, and people wonder why, like, well, they'll criticize others for not raising enough money, not realizing that these people are more grassroots and are actually doing the right thing versus the other people who are intermingling with big casino and big ag and these people who are just basically out to do bad for the environment, for the people of Florida. They're not looking out for our best interests. So, just want to get your take on what you deal with down in Miami, down especially with the water issues.
Sure, these big industries, though, they really control the politic at the state level. They tend not to bother municipalities because they try to preempt the municipalities by getting state legislatures to the state legislator to act in their behalf so that municipalities are preempted. And we've run into that quite a bit when it comes to all sorts of things with the environment. But water quality is one of the biggest ones, and that's so important for our state. Every single corner has its water quality problem, but a lot of the same common denominators of too much nutrients in the water, bad runoff, the flow of water coming where it shouldn't, from where it shouldn't, and not having the right regulations on what is able to go into it. And this is all controlled by the sugar and agriculture industries. If they can teach and convince legislators on both sides of the aisle to speak their language and sound environmental while still voting against our water's interests, then they've won. And the way they accomplish that is a very insidious and deep reaching campaign, which starts with money. And
Yep.
once the candidates take the money through all the dark money avenues, they're then compromised to at least listen. And once they listen, they say, listen, here I can tell you about how Lake Okeechobee's problems aren't the fault of agriculture, but really it's all about septic tanks. Let's blame it all on the septic tanks. That gives you an out as a legislator, but here, take this big bag of money and leave us alone. Or in fact, you know what? Protect us. Protect the smoke plumes that we billow through our burnings, and protect us with our rights to control how the water flows instead of from an environmental or drinking water perspective. And they do it. The legislators take the money and they do it. The only answer is at the federal level for the EPA to enforce the Clean Water Act. This is a federal law that federal legislators should be cracking down on in Florida and forcing the state to either fulfill its pledge to the Clean Water Act or go after them, take it back.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I mean, we need more protections at the federal level because sometimes at the state level they're not doing stuff right. And you're right. I mean, it's just this pollution thing is just killing us. I mean, like I was saying before, like you sold sports equipment. You know, here in the state of Florida, you're doing more surfing and stuff like that, which is a tourist type of thing too. So,
Yep.
you know, a lot of your business is dependent on tourism. So, you know, it hurts a lot of businesses if our waters are dirty and they're not. You know, if you can't go swimming in the water, that means our tourists can't go swimming in our waters, and that's just disgusting. And I'm sorry,
It's
but
real. My business partner caught MRSA while just teaching kite surfing in the bay, and that's what happens around here with the high fecal contents, with the over contamination and runoffs, with the failing sewer and septic systems. It's really bad. But it's not unfixable. It is not an impossible situation. The infrastructure changes that municipalities need to do, they need help from the state and federal government. They can't take on these massive multi-billion-dollar projects on their own. And so that's another thing I really want to be a champion for, is marshaling the resources to bring matching funds to help local governments achieve their goals from an environmental perspective.
Yeah, we need to help. And I mean, as the next commissioner of agriculture, that's one of the things I want to make sure. I have technology that's actually being brought over to me from the Australian side, of guys that are actually working over there on the Great Barrier Reef to restore that. They're coming over to help me out. They'll be here in less than 2 weeks. So I'm actually really excited to see what they got coming for me. But I know they're bringing me a bunch of cleaning stations. And these cleaning stations are supposed to be able to actually help us clean Lake O in like 6 months. So if we could do that and just start really working on reversing the damages that these guys have done, there's no reason why they shouldn't work with us. I'm not trying to hurt them. I'm not trying to I'm really just trying to have them like help me clean up their mess. So that way we don't have any more issues.
Of course, if all the resources were there, they wouldn't even be enemies, because if they weren't fighting over who gets the water, for example, if the resources were there, they wouldn't be demonizing the other side who's trying to take the water for the Everglades. Their goal is to keep the water as high as possible in the lake so they have it for their own agricultural purposes. And when they don't need it, inevitably, almost at the end of every year, they dump it out to the estuaries east and west, and it ruins the ecology of those estuaries. The answer is send that water south, scrub it clean through an STA, and send it down through a reservoir that lets it filter naturally as it was meant to through the Everglades to replenish the aquifers in South Florida. So while you're working on the cleaning of the water that's in the lake, I'm going to be working on pulling it south. And I think it'll be a beautiful partnership.
Exactly. We need to get that flow going back down. And that's the other thing too. I got bigger ecological messes up further north than you over there. So we have Piney Point over on the west coast, and then I have the St. Johns River issue over on the east coast, up on Duval County and all that. So there's so many issues, and some of these things are man-made issues. Some of these things are just pollution issues that we can deal with. And thankfully, like I said, this new technology is being brought over to me. The original purpose of this technology was actually for mine waste cleanup. So that's its normal purpose. And these things are supposed to be off-grid generators that are actually can produce energy from this whole process. So I'm looking forward for all this new green technology that we got coming to us. We even have a hydrogen engine that's being displayed to us from a company here in Florida. So I'm actually excited about that. So there's a bunch of cool things that are going on when it comes to tech, and especially when it comes to cleaning up our environment. So, you know, as the next commissioner, I'm going to have a field day with these things and make sure that we bring in this technology. So
thank you.
I want to make sure that we do the right things. So, so Ken, tell me, you know, what are your thoughts on, you know, what your campaign is doing right now and how you're getting, you know, how we can help you to get through this primary, because I feel you're definitely the guy that I would like to be in that position.
Thank you so much. And likewise, absentee ballots are out. We're in the last 3 weeks of the race. I voted for you on my absentee ballot just this week, and have already sent it back in. I hand delivered it to the post office. And this is crunch time. So I am considered the underdog in my race. I'm in a primary with another Democrat, Annette Tadeo, who is a state senator who has more name recognition than I do. But she's got a lot of really bad votes on the environment, having to do with tree protection, having to do with air quality, and having to do with water quality. And she obviously does also take money from the big sugar industry through a lot of dark money packs. And if I didn't answer your question earlier, I would never take $1 from big sugar, the agriculture industry, or FPL. And these, it affects things. So the difference between us is very stark, but I'm the underdog in this situation. So I'm out there hoofing it. We've got a great team. We're doing 20,000 doors before we get to the primary. We're doing a great mailing campaign, air attack, knocking doors. I mean, everything we can do, social media. We're having a blast trying to get the message out, because once people know what we're fighting for and what's important, that's where we're going to win. Annette's record is actually worse than Maria Elvira Salazar on the environment. And so I want us to win. I want a Democrat to get in there that's going to flip this seat back. It's one of the very few flippable seats that we can actually take back red to blue in this cycle. And that's so needed at the federal level.
No, I agree. And I really want to make sure that we get past this primary, because it's important to have people like you helping the environment, focused on the environment and not taking money from, big sugar, especially to attack other Democrats. But, we will leave that alone. So when it comes to on the federal level, I know that they talk about big sugar being subsidized and all these things. Would that be something that we could actually work on and start working on reducing some of these subsidies that these people are getting? Because I don't feel that they deserve any of that stuff, especially if they're causing this much problems in the state of Florida that we got to bring in and spend money to basically clean up their mess.
Thank you. And that's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. I actually challenged my competitors, both in the primary and the general, if they have not already, to take the pledge that when the next farm bill comes up, that they will eliminate the subsidy for the sugar industry in Florida. That is a big part of what is funding the politics. If they've got enough money around to throw around the politics of this state to mess up our waters, they don't need the subsidy.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when they're throwing money around to politicians like that. It's ridiculous. It's millions. What have they poured into my opponent so far? I believe at least $3 million from what I heard. So
really,
yeah, they're coming for me. I know that. And then on top of that, we know that they're helping fund my Democratic opponent. So I'm not cool with that either. So it is what it is. That's what we're fighting.
And that's part of the reason you don't hear about this issue statewide, because both sides are complicit. Both sides are guilty of this. And it's hard when you're a Democratic Party in the minority and you're just clawing to stay in power and have a voice. It's very tempting to take the big industry money because it's so big and so fast. When it's a hard state to fundraise in at the state level, it gets very tempting. And it's very hard to stick to your goals and morals and not because it's sometimes even the Republicans that are out Democrating us on the environment or guns or you name it. And it's because a lot of these interests get involved in our votes.
Yeah, it's sad because it shouldn't be this way. And this is why one of the things I really focus on at the federal level is making sure that we focus on overturning Citizens United and all these things that basically funnel money into these politicians that really corrupt them. And it's sad that we got to deal with this stuff, but we need people who are going to be transparent and really basically calling out this corruption, because that's what's making basically all government fail. And that's why people hate government, because they think that that's all that these people do. Meanwhile, there are a few good apples that are trying to break through and do the right thing. So, thank you. It's not easy being on the right side of history, especially when you got so much working against us here in the state of Florida with a GOP gerrymandering the crap out of the state for us. As a matter of fact, voting rights. What are your thoughts on that right now, especially here in the state of Florida?
So there's voting rights, much like reproductive rights, much like LGBT civil rights. These are things that need to be codified at the federal level. There are some things that states should be able to decide. And I agree on that. I agree on government close to the people. But as Americans, under our Constitution, there are certain rights that we should enjoy no matter what state we are in. And the access to the ballot box is one of the most fundamental. And so if that isn't codified at the federal level, states are going to be playing around with this in ways that will affect people's access to the ballot box. And that's not right at all. If you are qualified to vote, you should have every possible chance to vote, every possible chance to vote. And that's being stripped away state by state as insidious as they can through legislature, through judicial.
Yeah,
Those sorts of things need federal laws, because
I
the
mean,
judicial branch is failing us at the Supreme Court level. The last remaining hope is that the legislature comes through.
yeah, no, it sucks because they're closing down polling stations. They're making it harder for people to vote for no reason. It really does suck.
Yep.
Now Carl's been posting over here, just going to say yes, ending farm subsidies internationally would be great and basically level the playing field for all global producers. As the Commissioner of Agriculture, one of the things I talk about is pushing the Fresh from Florida brand across the nation and worldwide, because I think that Florida does have some great products that we need to be pushing internationally like everybody else does to us. So why can't we do the same to them? But at the same time, figure out how to be Florida first and having our products here first before any other international person. So, one of the things that we'd like to focus on, and I know, Ken, if you go into Congress, that one of the things that you could focus on and is helping out with some of those contracts too, just figuring out how to limit a lot of this importing of outside goods into the country, because it's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, and it hurts.
Yes, we definitely need to strengthen American supply and American trade. In my previous life as a small business owner, I did travel to over 50 countries. I learned 5 languages. I've worked contracts internationally. I've seen how other countries view us, and we definitely need a better footprint abroad. And we've got great things to share. So yes, I'm all about working together with you and moving forward on that.
That's awesome. So let me see. I know you're out there hanging out doing your thing, and it's been a hot day today. I would imagine you've been walking around all day. So
we were doing churches today. It was Sunday, so we were in the neighborhoods and we were out at churches, and I'm just finishing up with dinner with my son, and then we are done for the night.
Oh, bless you. Meanwhile, I've been stuck at home for the last few days with COVID.
Oh no, that is not good at the end of a campaign.
No. So luckily, I'm at the tail end of it. I should be negative by tomorrow with no problem, because I think I was at the tail end already. But yeah, that kind of sucked because it took me out of what I was doing for a few days. But
I'm sorry to hear it. Well, I hope you heal well.
Yeah, no, thankfully it wasn't too bad. It just sucked, Thankfully the vaccine worked, as we would like to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just sucked having to deal with that for a few days and not being able to go out and do what we need to do. But we were able to strengthen our digital game a little bit and make sure that we grow our channels there a little better. So that was great. But how's your TikTok doing? I know that's one of your biggest platforms. My God,
I just surpassed 380,000 followers, and it's great. We're having a really good time using an innovative method of getting to younger voters. But also the surprise here is a lot of older voters that simply lurk on TikTok. They're not creators, but they're there and they're absorbing the information, and it's making a difference. I've had some very viral videos that really taught people about a primary date that a lot of people didn't even know existed. Teaching them about how to vote early or vote absentee, but always doing it with a lot of fun. So yeah, definitely check out Ken for Florida on TikTok if any of you are on there.
That's awesome. All right, Ken. So I will give you 2 minutes to, I guess, wrap it up. Tell me what you want to tell the people of Florida, why they should vote for you, why you're the right choice. I know you want to chill out. It's Sunday night. I get it.
Oh no, not at all. This is what we do. There is no chilling out, right? When you're at the tail end of a campaign.
I know.
My wife is traveling with her family, and I couldn't even join them the whole summer just because I couldn't miss a minute of the campaign trail. If you were to lose by 20 votes, you'd think, what if I had just stayed out that one more night, right? And done that one more podcast and talked to that one more group. So I really appreciate this opportunity. It really helps everyone that's running for office. I encourage people to run, even if you're from the outside. All the barriers that used to exist have been broken down to where any average citizen with a willingness to listen to their constituents and the backbone to carry initiatives through can run for office and can win all the way to the highest level. For me, it came from being a kite surfing instructor and a water sports salesman, a surfboard salesman. I want to take care of Florida's water quality. That is my number one issue. Number 2 is affordable housing. I've done this as a City of Miami commissioner, where I've actually passed some of the state's most aggressive ordinances for environmental protections and affordable housing as a municipality. And I've done this even before getting into the federal level, because I know we need to move on these things and these problems can be solved. But if I were to get to the federal level, I could be that partner to over 412 cities around the entire state who are fighting for these issues, but not having the champion they need in federal government. So I really hope for everyone's support. if you live in Miami's District 27, Miami-Dade County. It's from City of Miami all the way down to Cutler Bay. So it includes Key Biscayne, includes Coral Gables, Pinecrest, Kendall, Richmond Heights, Cutler Bay, Palmetto Bay. It's an amazing district, actually on the water, and it goes west to the Turnpike. And these people really care about these issues. I try to stay away from hyper partisan rhetoric because this is a 50-50 red-blue district, and everyone cares about water and everyone cares about housing. So I've made my campaign about that, and I really think it's going to make the difference. So thanks for this chance.
And that's exactly it, man. I believe the environment is a nonpartisan issue that everybody agrees on. You know, when you can't go out on the water with your yacht and your mistresses or whatever you want to call them, you know, these Republicans are funny. But yeah, when you can't go out in the water and swim and enjoy it, you know, because of the algae blooms, and you know, who are you going to blame?
Or your home values are dropping, or your charter fishing company is out of business, or your hotel has to close down because of red tide.
Yeah, or your restaurant has nobody in it because everybody's out of town because nobody can come in because of the red tide. You know, it's just terrible.
Well, before I go, I want to give a shout out to Addison in Brevard County. Absolute amazing activist. I know she was on here earlier. I hope I didn't miss her.
No, she's still here. She's been here. She's been hanging out. Yep.
Thank you so much. She's such a great supporter and such an activist for the future that inspires me to really keep going. My daughters are 8 and 9 years old. And, you know, it's a lot of why we need to fight, a lot of why we need to take care of this planet. And it starts right here in Florida. So thank you, everybody.
That's exactly it. I mean, my daughters are 9 and 7. So basically same age. No, it's important. We have to fight for our children. Like, I don't know if you know my story. I've been a DJ most of my life. So most people don't realize that. So I actually used to be a DJ in Miami Beach. That's basically one of the bigger things that everybody knows me here in Florida. I used to do Ultra and all these things. So I had my fun. I've had a good life, you know, enjoyed my 20s, enjoyed my 30s. Now it's time for me to fight for my children.
Time to grow up. Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's time to grow up. And I'll
leave you with this. We just signed Ultra's 10-year contract for them to come back to the city of Miami, but we made it the most environmental Ultra that's ever existed. They have the support of the Sierra Club and Surfrider. They're doing everything right that a big festival should to not harm the environment. So I'm very proud to have them back. And DJs and EDM and Plur all day long.
Yep. No, exactly. Plur is exactly it. That's what I always tell people. People always bug out on me because I'm like, no, it's peace, love, unity, respect. That's what we got brought up on. And that's exactly what we want to make sure people understand, that that's the most important thing. Peace, love, unity, and respect.
That's it. Should be the campaign slogan.
It is. Yeah. All right, Ken.
I have got to run, but thank you so much for this, and good luck to you. We're in the home stretch, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do this. Whatever I can do, I'll be done in Miami Friday.
Nice. All right. Take care.
All right, brother. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.